Okay, let's dive right into this. Why is it that some countries generate just massive amounts of wealth, push the boundaries of innovation, and enjoy incredible living standards, while others seem completely trapped, stuck in these generational cycles of poverty, debt, and instability? Honestly, it's the ultimate mystery of global inequality. People have been trying to figure this out for centuries. And spoiler alert, the answer isn't just about who has the most gold, the best weather, or even just pure luck. Just picture this for a second. Back in the 1960s, South Korea and Ghana had almost identical income levels. I mean, they were starting from the exact same economic baseline. But look at them today. They are in completely different universes economically. South Korea turned into this absolute global tech powerhouse, the home of massive brands like Samsung and Hyundai. Meanwhile, Ghana, a place with tremendous potential, is still navigating some pretty tough economic challenges. So what changed? How did two nations start at the same starting line and end up running completely different races? And when you zoom out and look at the whole world, the contrast is just staggering. We're talking about a massive gap in GDP per capita between the richest and the poorest nations. But remember, this isn't just some boring number on a chart. To put it into perspective, right now, the literal spot on the map where you were born dictates your life opportunities, your health, and your potential wealth more than almost any individual choice you'll ever make. The human stakes here, they literally couldn't be higher.
So, we have to ask ourselves the obvious question. Is all this wealth just a product of geography and history? Did some countries just hit the geographic jackpot, or maybe get a massive head start hundreds of years ago? Let's test that out.
There is no denying that history builds the foundation of our modern world. Think of different historical eras as these massive tipping points. You've got colonialism, which pulled immense resources out of some regions while completely enriching others. Then the Industrial Revolution comes along and gives early adopters, like the UK and the US, this massive manufacturing and trade advantage that lasted for centuries. But here's the catch. History isn't necessarily a permanent destiny. Just look back at South Korea. Their post-war rebuilding was a miraculous economic transformation that took just a few decades. So yeah, history absolutely matters, but it's clearly not the whole story.
Okay, so what about geography? Having a strategic location is a real game changer. Take Singapore, for instance. They used their spot right on major global shipping lanes to become incredibly wealthy. But then you have nations dealing with inherent geographic hurdles. Imagine trying to grow your economy when you're completely landlocked, or dealing with a harsh climate or a challenging disease environment. A landlocked country is basically playing the global trade game on hard mode before they even get to the starting line.
But this is where the story becomes really surprising. Let's say a country has perfect geography. Let's say they sit on top of a mountain of natural resources. Oil, gold, diamonds, the whole shebang. They've got to be the wealthiest nations on Earth, automatically, right? Actually, no. That assumption is often completely wrong. It's a massive paradox. Sure, you have countries like Norway and Canada that are packed with resources and are highly prosperous. But then look at Venezuela or the Democratic Republic of Congo. These nations possess some of the most vast oil and mineral reserves on the entire planet, and yet they struggle with severe economic instability and deep poverty. This brilliantly illustrates that having natural wealth in the ground absolutely does not guarantee a high living standard for the people living above it. Economists actually have a name for this. They call it the resource curse. It's this bizarre reality where countries with abundant natural wealth often experience less economic growth, not more. How? Well, easy money from resources can make a country heavily dependent on just one export. It opens the door to massive government corruption, and it usually means they completely fail to diversify the rest of their economy. So resources can be a blessing, sure, but they could just as easily be a curse. So, if wealth isn't just about the luck of having oil, a prime spot on the map, or a historical head start, what is it? What is the invisible system that's actually creating this wealth? To find the answer, we have to peel back the next layer of the onion. We need to stop looking at visible geography and start looking at invisible societal structures. So the crucial point here is institutions. I'm talking about the stark contrast between strong systems, like the rule of law, highly protected property rights, and stable, predictable governments, versus weak institutions plagued by corruption, political instability, and zero legal enforcement. These institutions are the actual invisible blueprint of wealth. It's the exact reason why international businesses will confidently drop billions of dollars into a country like Switzerland, but will completely avoid unstable economies where the rules of the game might just change overnight.
But let's push this even further. Let's really test this theory. What if a country has absolutely zero natural resources, a tiny landmass, and, frankly, terrible geographic odds?
Is it possible for a nation with literally zero natural advantages to escape poverty and become an economic giant?
The answer is a resounding yes. In fact, there's a proven blueprint for escaping poverty, and we've seen it in economic miracles all around the world. It usually looks something like this. Step 1, rigorous long-term government planning. 2, a massive, uncompromising investment in education. 3, building robust infrastructure. 4, an aggressive global export strategy. And 5, relentless technological innovation. This exact sequence is how places like Singapore went from being developing nations to premier global financial centers in a single lifetime.
And that works because ultimately, human knowledge has become the most valuable resource on Earth. Just think about Japan's legendary engineering culture or South Korea's massive technology boom. These nations proved that when you don't have resources in the ground, you invest in the minds of your people instead. Human capital is the ultimate, totally renewable wealth builder.
Now, how countries actually choose to organize their people and the resources varies wildly, and different systems yield very different results. For example, the United States champions free markets and entrepreneurship, which drives immense innovation, though it often faces criticism over economic inequality. China, on the other hand, uses a heavily state-led strategy, which has achieved unprecedented rapid economic growth, even as critics point to the heavy government control. Meanwhile, you have the Nordic countries embracing social democracy. That creates high stability and incredible social safety nets, but it comes with high taxes. So there really is no single perfect system. Each approach brings distinct economic benefits and its own unique set of challenges.
Which brings us to a really profound realization. Countries aren't rich just because of one single silver bullet. It's not just about resources or geography or history alone. The wealth of nations is literally a mountain built from millions of tiny decisions made over generations. Think about it. Every policy passed, every school built, every trade deal signed, and every single institution protected, they all stack up, decade after decade, to determine the destiny of millions of people. And here is the thing. The map of global wealth isn't frozen in place, not even close. As we look ahead to 2030, 2040, 2050, the entire board is being reset. We are watching rising populations, the explosive integration of AI and automation, massive shifts in global manufacturing, and a critical transition toward green energy. These factors are going to completely rewrite the map, and it's creating massive opportunities for emerging markets right now, places like India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and several dynamic, fast-growing African nations. The economic giants of tomorrow are laying their foundations today. So, the future of global wealth is far from predetermined. It's going to be decided by the quality of a nation's institutions, the education of its citizens, and the human decisions being made at this very moment. As AI, climate change, and new trade routes completely transform the globe, which countries do you think will step up to write the next chapter of economic history? Thank you for exploring this amazing topic with me today on This Explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching World Decoded. Make sure to like and share, subscribe, and stay curious.